David Bowie was born in South London's Brixton Hills on January 8, 1947. Originally named David Robert Haywood Jones, he was also nicknamed the Thin White Duke, Ziggy Stardust, and the Picasso of Pop. He changed his name to Bowie in the 1960s to avoid confusion with then the well-known Davy Jones, lead singer of the Monkees. The knife developed in the 19th century by pioneer Jim Bowie inspired the new name. David stated that he believed that the surname suggested cutting through the deeper truths.
One of Bowie's most known trademarks was the discoloration of his left eye. His originally blue eye changed to a goldish brown after a nasty punch from one of his best friends at the time. The punch was provoked by an argument over a girlfriend and led to over 8 months of bed rest for Bowie. David showed an interest in music from an early age and began playing the saxophone at age 13. His older half-brother Terry was a big influence on his life. In 1956, Terry joined the British Royal Air Force for 2 years. When he came back, he was different. He would later be diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic and admitted into a mental institution, a fact that haunted Bowie. Later, after a 10-year period of no contact, David visited his brother in the facility where he was staying at the time. Unfortunately, 2 years after that visit, Terry committed suicide in 1985 and later became a focal point for Bowie's song, Jump They Say. Bowie's love and interest for music never died and was stronger than ever. At age 22, Bowie released his first single, Space Oddity, and this was the kickstart to his career. A year later, in 1970, Bowie released The Man Who Sold the World, and now with Mick Ronson, Bowie's lead guitarist, having the sound that he had been searching for, the fame was ready to pour in. Albums Hunky Dory and Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars were considered to be one of the best double albums of the decade, both making their debut in 1971. Hunky Dory was the album embarked around Bowie's hopes and change for the world, while Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars was a story of aliens and world destruction. From these albums, a star arose, and Bowie introduced the world to glitter rock. From 1971 to 1973, Bowie had emerged into Ziggy Stardust and played an influential role to all his broken and lonely fans. But Bowie did not consider this to be his true self, but a character he was acting out to be. He grew tired of the role and was ready for change. In 1973, after a full 18-month tour, Bowie brought an end to Ziggy by stating at the end of his concert that this would be their last show ever, publicly dismissing his current band and crew and putting a drastic end to Ziggy Stardust.
With numerous other records in between, Bowie released his last album, Black Star, on January 8, 2016, just 2 days before his death on the 10th. In the last few months of his life, Bowie had been fighting terminal liver cancer, but that hardly slowed him down. He continued contributing his powerful lyrics, playwrights, and soul until the very end. Not only did Bowie make an impact in rock and roll, but also left his mark in film culture. David's movie career was one of many different roles, from playing Corky and Scary Goblin King in The Labyrinth to more quieter roles as Nikola Tesla in 2006 The Prestige. Bowie ended up building a unique body of work as an actor, being in over 25 different movies. He also helped push for music videos before MTV was ever around.
How you turned my world, you precious thing. You starve and near exhaust me. Everything I've done for you. I move the stars for no one. You've run so long, you've run so far. Your eyes can be so cruel, just as I can be so cruel. Oh, I do believe in you.
Toby!
Yes, I do. Live without your sunlight. Love without your heartbeat. I
an interview in 1972, Bowie announced that he is and always has been gay, then stated 11 years later to Rolling Stone that it was the biggest mistake he's ever made and that he indeed was not and never was gay. Bowie was married twice and has 2 children. His first wife, Angela Barnett, gave birth to their baby boy, Duncan Zoe Haywood Jones, in '71, and the 2 were divorced in '77, leaving Bowie full custody of Duncan. David remarried in 1983 to a fashion model Iman, who gave birth to Bowie's second child, Alexandra, and the 2 remained married for the rest of his life.
When Terry, David's older brother, his biggest influence as a young teenager, introduced him to what would become some of his greatest inspirations, William Burroughs, Jack Kerouac, the Beats movement, and Christopher Isherwood, Bowie took from these mentors a sense of sexual freedom and jazz that he continued to incorporate into his works throughout his career. On February 28, 1974, William Burroughs joined Bowie at his home for a Rolling Stones interview, where the 2 discussed Burroughs' future plans and Bowie's future aspirations.
Planet Earth is a lot bluer without David Bowie, the greatest rock star who ever fell to this or any other world. He was the hottest tramp, the slinkiest vagabond, and the prettiest star who ever shouted, "You are not alone," to an arena full of the world's loneliest kids. He was the most human and the most alien of all rock artists, turning to face the stranger, speaking to the freak in everyone. He stared into your twitchy teenage eyes to assure you that you've torn your dress and your face is a mess. Yet that's precisely why you're a juvenile success.